how's it? It's Sunny Bunny, and welcome back to Our Life Now and Forever. Oh, I'm so excited to get back into this game. I haven't had time for the last 2 weeks to record. And also, since I uploaded the first video, a lovely commenter helped me with the pronunciation of Chio's name. I will probably still mess it up a little bit, but I am trying as hard as I can to pronounce the name properly. Yeah, I'm so excited. I love how this game looks. Okay, so you started to walk along the autumn tree line, now with your new partner in the adventure. Chio came alongside you with bold, certain steps. You were going to find that paper airplane person. Soon, you reached the head of the path. You were at the crossroad once more, but you'd brought back knowledge, and this new boy with you. Alright, we did that one. It's where you were, and down there is just a car road. You stood by Chio, gesturing around animatedly with both hands. You didn't know if that helped him understand better, but you couldn't keep still. But there's something over there on the other side. You bent your knees, stretched out both arms, and pointed across the forked passage to where the second dirt imprint was. Chio couldn't possibly miss it with your direction. With a tilt of his head, Chio grinned in agreement. Oh, he's got a crooked smile. That's adorable. That makes sense to me. The decision easily made. Your and his crunching footsteps started up again in unison. Also, apparently, since this is still the demo, apparently the game will be released next year sometime. I'm not quite sure when, but it should be next year. And still, your quest continued. Once you went through the foresty path, you had truly entered the wild woods. Nothing else surrounded you any longer. Nature spread across the land, with a narrow dirt line and fence being the only sign anyone had walked in the spot before you. People were only visitors here. Golden and red leaves gently rustled against each other, in the thick clumps with each tree's branches flowing into the others nearby. It was enough to keep the sky and sun out almost completely, but the leaves burned bright, with the lights basking over them from above. The foot-made passage continued to twist around, up higher into the mountainside, and further than you could see. You were amazed. It was sort of nice. You felt uneasy. Preferred the neighborhood over the woods. It was dark and icky. This was your kind of place. Your curiosity was piqued. It was so boring. This was a creepy place. Awesome. You regretted coming out here. The forest was frightening. I don't find forest particularly creepy. I think I would say this is my kind of place. With your wide, wondrous gaze thrown every which way, you let yourself flow deeper into the thicket. Chio watched your face. Your good mood was enough to rub off on him. Oh, the art style in this is just gorgeous. I hang out in the neighborhood or the other parts of town most of the time, but woods can be cool too. Really? Why don't you visit more often? It's right by your house. I've lived here forever. Every day of my whole life. Stuff's always going on with the people in the neighborhood and in town. The forest is the same whenever you come back. Trees, bushes, some birds. It's kind of weird when you think about it. Besides, the plants looking different when the seasons change. It's like time doesn't exist here. Casually, Chio lifted up his hands from his sides, only to gesture them downwards towards the forest floor. And hey, this path we're walking on has always been here, even before I was born. He strolled along, kicking at a little piece of rock on the ground and looking straight ahead. It's probably been around for as long as this place has been Golden Grove, or longer. For a second, he was thinking so hard, the smile he almost always had went away. Then something made him chuckle, and he pointed over to the side. But that fence is kind of new. I remember there just being the dirt when I was little. That's the only thing that's ever gotten different around here. Wow. The quiet bubble that existed here in the forest, away from the town, popped from a sudden, unnatural clatter. You stopped. It was a whooshing, thumping, and stirring up of the leaves, like something had crashed into them. You and Chiyu shared a look, both checking the other herder too. That wasn't me, and that wasn't you either. Yeah. You knew for sure that it wasn't the wind. It had to have been an animal or a person. And it came from right over there. That thrilled Chiyu. His voice shrunk into an eager whisper.
It could be them. The mystery paper airplane sender. Let's go before they get away.
You decided just to take a peek. You wandered through the bushes to find the source of the sound. You picked up a stick to throw that way, just to see if something happened. I'm tempted to throw the stick, but I feel like that's going to hit the other character in the head. I can't remember her name at the moment, so let's go with... to find the source. Yeah, let's go with that one. You pulled up your socks and began to make your way off the path through the overgrowth. It was harder to keep your footing on the slanted, untrimmed ground. When you reached a really tree-cluttered spot, you grasped at the branches and pushed them aside in order to open enough space for you to get past. You moved them the same way you'd open up a set of curtains, but it was a lot harder to do. The tiniest branches couldn't take the bend and snapped from the pressure. You could feel the splintery ends of the plants scratch a little at your face and clothes. It wasn't as smooth of an entrance as you'd hoped it would be. On the other side of the tree line was still the woods, but kind of an empty part. There was a lot of open ground with no trees or bushes growing and a ton of leaves that were gathered into piles. Past that clearing, the trees were back and even more closely pressed together than they were by the path. It was mysterious. There was nowhere easy to go, and nothing seemed out of place to you until... Oh, she's so cute. Hello! There was a shout and a new whirlwind of leaves rushing through the air. From underneath one of the piles was another kid. Who was this person? That's all you thought. You couldn't look away from their eyes. They were really red. They had sparkly hair, you noticed. You liked the scarf they had on. There were leaves stuck in their hair and clothes. You were wrong before. This person was the prettiest you've ever seen. This was the second prettiest person you'd ever seen. I don't really like either of these two options. That just seems kind of mean. I like the sparkly hair. The sparkly hair is very cool. You stared at them and they looked right back at you as everything they'd thrown into the air gently drifted back down. Hi, where were you this whole time? You scared me. Did you live out here? You're crazy. How did you know where we were? Were you waiting for us? Awesome. You had no idea what to do. You began to laugh. I thought we were going to catch someone, but you got us. I'm awesome. I thought we were going to catch someone. Let's go with this one. That got the stranger giggling. Yeah, I got you. Chiyu folded his arms across his chest. He blinked slowly and thoughtfully. He usually had plenty to say, but in that moment, he was left as stumped as one of the actual stumps in the forest. Wait here! The jumping jack kid hopped again, but this time it was to get up off the ground. They dashed to the opposite edge of the open space, leaves scattering behind them, dropping out of their clothes and being kicked up by their steps. You were already wondering what was going to happen next. Watching them go, Chiyu finally found some words. It's another person I've never seen before today. He twisted around so the top of him was angled more towards you. He brought one of his hands to the side of his mouth and held the other close to his chest, pointing subtly in the direction the stranger went. Sunny, do you know this Leaf Kid? Nope. Chiyu, you're the only person I've met here. I don't know anyone in this town, not even you. You shook your head strongly. You simply stayed back. You're the only person I've met here. Yeah, true. Chiyu's arms fell back down like limp noodles, but he never took his eyes off the other person. He was definitely curious. From behind one of the tall, crooked trees, the kid began throwing sticks and other plant pieces around. They were uncovering a hidden treasure, a big brown bag. They had to use both hands to lift the pouch and get it over their head. The thick strap pulled tight under the strain of the weight attached to it. The line of their mouth looked just as strained. The stranger huffed when they released the bag from their fingers, letting it rest completely across their shoulder. You heard stuff bumping around inside from your position way over here. It was a really full pack. But it didn't slow that kid down. They ran back at full speed to meet you where you were. When they were in front of your face, they gave a wave and asked a question.
Ooh, whoa! Your eyes two colors? Are your eyes two colors?
You suddenly had a strange... I can't read today. What is wrong with me? You suddenly had a stranger leaning their face closer to yours to try getting a better look at your eyes. It's not special or anything. Thanks for noticing. Do you think it's weird? Stop coming towards me. It's pretty cool, right? You don't have to yell about it. You just looked away pretending you didn't hear. Your cheeks felt hot and you couldn't speak. You stood tall and lifted your chin. Thanks for noticing. I think thanks for noticing. Whoever they were hummed a happy reply.
You're welcome. It's fancy.
The kid then kept talking like that whole thing didn't even happen.
Hi. Are you girls too?
Chiyu gestured to the front of himself casually.
I'm a boy, Mr. Chiyu Lin. Qiu and Lin. Wow, okay. Hi, Chiyu.
The kid turned their attention to you.
Are you a girl?
No, you shook your head. I'm not a girl. No. Now. Why did I... I think I've been listening to too much Stray Kids concert where it's like the now, the Australian no is coming in. Anyway, sorry. My brain is all over the place. No, why would you think that? You asked curiously. No. Why would you think something like that? You asked, feeling insulted. That's mean. You glanced at Chiyu shyly, not wanting to talk. Am I not a girl? Oh, it's been like three or something weeks since I played this game. Wait a minute. Oh no, I don't want to return to the menu. My details. Oh, I am age 10. I thought I was age 8. I like the personalities, just question mark, question mark, question mark. Am I not a girl? I'm so confused. Oh well. Did I make a choice earlier? Oh. I'm just gonna shake my head. I don't remember the beginning of this game. Oh, well.
Okay, boys and stuff are just as good. What's the right answer? I'm just a kid. People use she, her to talk about me.
And then it was like all the clouds in the sky and her head, you guessed, had cleared away.
Alright.
And all of a sudden, the leafy girl seemed to remember to introduce herself the way that most people do.
I'm Tamarack.
Alright, that sounds nice, really. Tamarack, that's mean. Don't tell people they have weird names. That's so mean. Tamarack, what does that mean? Tamarack, that's a tree. Wait, isn't that a normal word, not a name? You simply nodded. Let's go with what does that mean? A tamarack is a kind of tree. I like it a lot. I didn't know that. That's very interesting. Chiyu grinned widely at her enthusiastic introduction. It fits you. What's your last name? Bowman? Bauman. Bowman. I will look that up at some point. Anyway. Cool, Miss Tamarack Bauman. You know, my name means autumn. That's amazing. It's a match, too. How do people know how to do that? I think we're just lucky. Lots of kids don't have the right ones. Yeah. So, what's your name? The girl you now knew as Tamarack sent the question your way since Chiyu already gave out his. I'm Sunny. My name is Sunny Bunny. It's Sunny Bunny. Nice to meet you. Oh, is it because I chose Captain? That would be really it'd be really funny if that's why. You had an old library card with your name on it. You let her look at it. You didn't speak up. You let Chiyu speak to you. I'm Sunny. I'm Captain Sunny Bunny. It's Sunny Bunny. Nice to meet you. Wow. Hi, Sunny. She greeted you with a finger-spread wave of her hand, as sweetly as if you'd always known each other, and she'd done it 100 times. Do you think yours fits too? Your name? Sometimes, I don't know, yeah, no, a little, it's alright I guess, you're not in agreement, you shook your head against that, you shrugged vaguely. Yeah, I think so. Ooh, alright. Your headband is nice. I have a headband? Wait a minute. I do have a headband. Oh dear. I'm doing great today, aren't I? Thank you. Yeah, it is nice. Well, thanks. I guess some of these answers are mean. Oh, I like your hair too. You proudly reach up to straighten the headband on your head. My mom got it for me. My mom made me wear it. You informed her flatly. You just tried to look down. I like your hair tie too. Yeah. Thanks. It's cool to meet you, Tamarack. Maybe. He pointed a suspicious finger her way as he made another point with words. There was only one house for sale anywhere near this neighborhood. Sunny lives there now. Where did you come from? Unless you're Sunny's mom. Tamarack was completely tickled by the idea, giggling and covering her mouth with her hands. She didn't do a good job at stopping any of the laughter getting out. No, I'm not a mom. I moved in with my Omi and Opa. Is she Afrikaans? Well, I guess Dutch would also be an option. Is she? Oh, that's so cool. Okay, who are they? Are those your parents' names, Omi and Opa? You're living with your grandparents. I've heard of that before. Omi and Opa is Granny and Grandpa. I have no idea what you're saying. You listen quietly. You're living with your grandparents? Yep. I've never heard of that. Is it another language? Uh-huh. It's German, and they're German. Oh, okay. Cool. So in Afrikaans, which is, you know, sort of, it evolved from like the Dutch language and all of that. Omi and Opa is what people call their grandparents. I didn't know that was also what people who speak German call the grandparents. Oh, I'm learning so much today. This is great. Cool. You two know a lot. There's a granny there and a guy that's her husband. That's your Omi and Opa? I think so, probably. Omi has really long hair, Opa has short hair, and some of it is on his face. Yeah. Chiyu bobbed his head up and down with great understanding. Granny and him have a kid now, huh? Wow. Oh, alright, that's nice. Nifty. That's such a fun word. I have no idea what it'd be like to not live with my mom. Are your parents dead? Don't ask that! Yo. Why did you move in with them? What about your parents? You didn't say anything to that. I'm gonna say nifty. That's a fun word. Nifty.
Yeah. I've been here 5 days and it's really good. There's so much out here. I probably won't be finished for a long, long time. Months, maybe.
Finish with what? The loudness of Chiyu's voice shot up. He was shocked and confused.
5 days? That's almost a week and I've never even seen you.
Where have you been this whole time?
I said so before. I've been here.
Tamrak used one foot to push against the ground and the other to stay upright and spin around in place. Once.
I play in the forest every day.
After getting the answer, he went normal volume again, but kept frowning.
Well, you can come with me and my friends if you wanted to. We hang out in the neighborhood and in town and my backyard and stuff. If you see us, just walk over and join. You don't have to worry. They'll like you and you can talk to me if you don't know what to do.
She only shrugged, and the shoulder without the bag strap went up higher.
Maybe.
There wasn't a lot of interest for Chiyu's offer. He finally grinned again. He watched Tamrak with a tilted head.
You're like your Opa, huh?
No one ever really sees him around either, even though he's lived here for 1,000,000 years. Tamrak squished her cheeks between her fingers, delighted.
He likes his office a whole lot. This is my first day in Golden Grove. Wow, that's barely different at all. We're a match.
She furrowed her extra short eyebrows. Oh, she does have short eyebrows. She furrowed her extra short eyebrows as much as she could as a new idea came to her.
Hey, I'm a girl and neither of you are, but what if we're the same age? I'm 10. We're 10 too. You're 10, so are we. We are the same age, all three of us.
We are the same. All three of us.
Oh, I'm 10,
you said, not answering for Chiyu. Why do you even care? You nodded yes. You held up all 10 fingers. You kept quiet. Chiyu answered for both of you.
You're 10, so are we. Hooray! Same age forever!
Happily, Tamrak held onto the worn strap of her big bag and bounced up and down in place. You decided that this was the perfect time to talk to her about everything that had happened. The paper might have been Chiyu's, but it was possible she was the one who sent it to you.
Hey, I got hit with a
paper airplane a little while ago. Was that you? Did you throw a paper airplane at me? Do you know anything about a paper airplane? Tell the truth. Are you the paper airplane person? Do you know what this is? You pulled out the page without a word. You took out, let's take out the piece of paper. She began to cheer louder the moment she caught sight of the unusually colored page. Oh, that's so cute. Oh my word, that's adorable. I love this game.
You got it? Yeah, I got it. It's right here. Woo!
She flung her arms up over her head in celebration, knocking the bag out to the side. It made a thump noise when it swung back against her.
My aim is good.
You blinked at her in disbelief. You'd truly done it. You found the mysterious person who owned the paper in the first place, and the person who actually sent it to you as a paper airplane. She was entertaining, you thought. You rubbed your eyes exhaustedly. She was loud. It made you nervous. You couldn't believe the trouble she set off. She smiled to yourself shyly. She was so cute, you thought you didn't know how to feel about that. She was entertaining. She seems fun. But you weren't the only one who had a reaction to the results.
All right, nice, Sunny.
Your wide eyes and Chiyu's cheers had Tamrak excitedly looking between you and him, not knowing what the celebration was about, but wanting to join. Thanks for sending it. That plane was really cool. Why would you do that? Yeah, your throw was perfect. He smiled quietly. He frowned. The throw was pretty perfect.
Thanks, and yay for the trash. Thanks, and yay for the trash doing something nice.
Trash? He brought both his hands up to his face and pressed his fingertips into his cheeks with great drama. Oh, there's a lot of choices. Even if it was trash to you, it's still important to me. Even if it's trash to you, it's still important to him. It's not trash. You've got that right. It's garbage. You got that right. It's garbage. You joked. You stated. You snickered. You glared at her. What was that about never losing things to you? Poor Chio. She was right, but you wouldn't say that. You covered your face. This is so awkward. What was that about never losing things? Let's go with that one. With wrinkled brows, Chiyu shifted his hands more to the side so that he could instead tug at the front strands of his hair, pulling them out fully straight. Oh, I don't know how it's possible. You wouldn't maybe be a sorcerer or a thief, would you, Tamarack? No. Too bad. You thought about how he was so funny, you covered your eyes at the ridiculousness, you sighed, you smoked wildly, you thought about how he was so adorable, you felt tired, you just ignored it. He is pretty adorable. Tamarack and you both laughed, the sound harmonizing. Chiyu finished his pout, straightening up and putting his hand solidly on his hips. He went back to being in control. You know, there's nobody out there who's perfect. I accept my mistake and I'm sorry to you, Forest, for messing up the place. That's really nice of you to say, Chiyu. Thanks. I think it forgives you. Cool. Watching the two kids interacting, you started thinking about this more and more, going over the whole experience in your head. Your turning thoughts were put on pause when Tamarack suddenly changed the subject. What are you two gonna do now? I've gotta go back. My mum is waiting for me. And I'll walk Sunny there. I gotta make sure she doesn't get lost out here. I should probably see how my Omi and Oppa are doing. They're pretty old and they need help sometimes. She took a big hop closer to you and Chiyu, a smile growing across her face as she landed. We could go back together. Alright, yes, I was gonna ask that. Well, okay, if you both are sure. Sorry, I want to be by myself. No, I don't want people coming. Sorry, me and Chiyu are going together. No, you should stay here. That one's kind of mean as well. You just ditch him. You nod in agreement. You shook your head no. Alright, we can. You relaxed your stance, accepting that this was really over now. Woohoo! Tamarack snatched up the nearby stick off the ground and directed the pointy end forward, the way you had come from. To our houses. While chuckling, Chiyu used his fist to enthusiastically pump the air. Homeward bound. This is really nice. We're going back successful, people. Alright, you two are loud. You smiled at them in agreement. You watched the two in shy silence. You were filled with confidence. You couldn't have been more victorious. To join in the celebration, you clapped your hands. You covered your ears. Let's clap our hands. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She had cupped her hands around her mouth to make it extra loud. And so you started to walk through the brown fall bush to get to the neighborhood again. But you weren't going to be alone there. Tamarack bounded ahead, bouncing her arm up and down with the stick like she was the conductor of a marching band, while Chiyu came alongside you with even, casual steps. You're returning to that house. Your new neighborhood had become even more orange-toned by the time you finally returned to it. The far-off sun slowly sank away behind the tallest mountains and forests to sleep for the night. Your shadows grew larger, pulling away from your bodies to reach out into the street ahead. The dark shapes morphed and combined into one another as you walked in your own mismatched rhythm. All while the eyeball-chillingness of the outside world got more powerful bit by bit. Tamarack still stayed about 2 steps ahead. Sometimes she was closer, sometimes she got away from you again. She used her stick to knock at the bushes and lamps along the sidewalk. Chiyu was next to you, but had switched things up so that he was taking large skips backwards. You guessed it was to look at you in the face better, or he just thought it was fun. He pointed out the sharpest building on the street as he went. Part of it almost looked like a tower, a different kind than the one in the backyard. See, that's the house from the front. It's great. And that's your house, right? The one in the middle. And Granny owns the one even further away. Cool. The sounds of your steps continued to echo through the cul-de-sac until you came to a stop right in the center of the path. You'd arrived. Okay, this is it. Chiyu pulled out an eager grin. We gotta meet up again later. See you, Sunny. See you, Tamarack. Chiyu flipped around to go back the same way he came with you. He needed to return to the pointy red house with the huge backyard. He didn't drop any papers this time. Bye. Goodbye. Tamarack put both her hands up in front of her chest and waved them around. I'm going home too. Tamarack spun around in place before dashing further along the sidewalk to the sloped grey house on the other end of the neighborhood, and her bag clunked and jingled at her side the whole way there. You waited there in front of the house in the dimming evening light, watching the two other kids go to their homes right on the same street. Bye, see you later, careful on your way back, thanks for coming with me, it was cool to meet you two. You gave a wave goodbye, you waved your hands in the air and jumped up. You simply stood there, you hovered a thumbs up. It was cool to meet you two. That was everything. The whole outing was done. In the quiet resolution of your first day in this place, the two encounters you had earlier that afternoon drifted through your head. Chiyu and Tamarack. Relationships and expression elements. Tamarack and Chiyu are the two leads of our life now and forever. At the start of each step, you can choose what kind of relationship standing you share with each of them. These relationships are always mutual. Oh, you get to see what they look like when they're older. For example, if you choose to have a crush on a lead, they will have a crush on you as well. Oh, look at them! Look how cute they both are here. Your relationships can grow closer during special moments at each step, and you can grow closer or more distant between steps. If you begin dating a lead, however, you won't be able to break up with them. We have crushes and BFFs, neighbors, crushes, friends, best friends. You can only date one character at a time until step 4, where there will be an option to pursue a... Oh, I didn't know there was a poly option. Tamarack and Chiyu will never be romantically involved with each other. In this demo, there isn't yet an opportunity to date either lead. You can also choose expression elements to influence how you and the leads interact with one another. These do not have to be mutual. You can also choose expression elements to influence how you and the leads interact with one another. These do not have to be mutual and can change at the beginning of each step. Ah, that's fun. Chiyu and Tamarack's expression elements towards you are fixed in step 1, but will be influenced in later steps by your choices or manually adjusted. Check the question mark for a more detailed description of what each expression element means. Ah. You can have a beloved. Ah, okay. Oh, this is very cool. This is so detailed. Oh, look how cute he is in this little thing here. Let's go with admiring, teamworking, and teasing. Okay, I can't change those. Since this is a romance game, let's go with crushes. That's so cute. Oh my gosh, wait, what happens with neighbors? It's neutral, friends. It's cute little smiles. Okay, let's go with crushes. That's adorable. Oh, she's so cute. She's so cute. She's so cute. I think same thing. Teamworking. Doting. Let's go with doting. And let's go with teasing. And let's also go with crushes, because, oh, that's so cute. Things were so different for you from just that morning when you left and went on the drive to move. Before then, you'd never been in Golden Grove. You'd seen it only in pictures and hadn't known anybody who was local there. But here you were, a person who lived in the town and was friends with the neighbors on both sides of your house, who also lived there. Were you friends? You thought so. And even though they weren't here anymore, and a bunch of other things had happened that day, the two of them were the only things on your mind. What it was like when you first saw them, when you started to talk and learn about them, all that stuff with the note and the paper airplane. It was special. The air outside kept getting even colder, but you were so warm on the inside. It was nice and comfortable in the place you were. Getting even more lost in your own imagination, you wondered when you'd get to see them again. "Sunny, is that you?" Your mum called from over the fence. "Coming!" You bounded forward and passed through the gate. Mum had left the porch and was there to meet you. "Thank you for coming back. I'm sure you were having an exciting time out there." "It was great, could have been worse, I don't know, you're never going to believe what happened. Everything was amazing." You squeezed her legs, thrilled at what happened. Russia didn't go, you clung to her. I met people, Mum, kids my age. I met a girl I'm going to marry, I met a boy I'm going to marry, I met 2 people I could marry. All of these are adorable. Squeezed her legs. "Oh, that great?" From strength to strength, we've got the key to the house. The agent finally arrived about 20 minutes ago. He's gone now, but I haven't peeked yet. The both of us should be here for this. It's your house too. "Yeah, this is our house now." "Absolutely. Come on." Mum turned to go and slipped the key out from her sweater pocket. She gestured with the other hand for you to follow. Your mum led the way as you went back up the stairs. The key fit perfectly into the hole on the door, and Mum smiled at the sound of an unlocking click. Carefully, she leaned forward with her shoulder, giving it a nudge, unsure if the best option for the ancient door was extra force or extra restraint. The house opened with a creak. Air came through the front like it was exhaling. Mum let out a breath at the same time. "Over here, Sunny. There's a space for you to get a little closer. You can see inside here." You scooched towards your mum's side in the doorframe. It was then that you noticed there was a mat at the front. It had a light colour and a kind of hard but fluffy texture. The sort of mat that get dirty looking right away when it was used, but it was still clean and nice. It hadn't been worn down at all like the rest of the building. This part of the house wasn't just an old thing left behind by other people who didn't need it or want it anymore. Someone must have put it there for this happening, for your mum and you moving in. Written across the top it said, "Welcome home." Mum softly tapped the top of your shoulder, bringing you back into the moment. She kept the hand there, leading you ahead with her. The two of you walked through the door. Everything in the air was still. The wind was blocked, but it was practically as cold inside as it was out of the house. Mum shifted forward, cautiously feeling around for a light switch. Got it. A dim light from the ceiling sparked on in an instant, and there in front of you was an old-fashioned living room. The house had furniture that came along with it, but it wasn't a set. The pieces were mismatched, each chair, table and bookshelf in a different color. They were covered in transparent sheets of plastic and dust. The room had a real fireplace made out of brick. In the back you could see a staircase going up to another floor. Beautiful. It's even better than the photos. So much potential in these walls. You were amazed. It could fit in a storybook. You were so disappointed. It blew your old apartment out the water. It was the worst house in the world. It could work once you had your stuff out. You thought it was okay. You didn't care about the house. You didn't want to be here. The house was definitely haunted. This place was so haunted. Awesome. I'm going for that option. Maybe it was just Tamrak who threw the paper airplane, but this was where the ghosts actually were. Your mum touched the tips of her fingers to the muted blue paint next to her. We'll have to clean as much as we can to make it livable before bed. It'll be a long night. We can unpack more of our things tomorrow, though I'll be doing much of that on my own. You're going to be busy. Mum increased the pitch of her voice, squinting her eyes sweetly. After all, it's the first day of 5th grade. You grinned brightly, you groaned, you hoped she'd forgotten. How would she forget that? You threw your hands up in the air, you covered your face, you bit your lip, your tummy twisted. What if people didn't like you because you're different? You shrugged. You got lost in thought, imagining what it would be like. You glared at her, annoyed that she brought it up to Shirley. You groaned, throwing your head back. Let's groan, throwing her head back dramatically. She let out a breath gently while watching you. We got here just in time, clearly. Her eyes drifted closed, and there was a crease in her brows. She seemed further away without having actually gone anywhere. Even if I am here early for the job, I was not going to make you be a full week late to class. Being new to a town like this is already going to make you a point of attention. You couldn't tell if she thought that was a good thing or a bad thing by her tone, but Mum didn't say any more about that. She lifted her circle scarf over her head and careful not to let it catch on her earrings, and left it on top of her suitcase. So, want to see the upstairs? Yeah. The second floor was more of the same, lonely, sealed-away rooms with furniture nobody had been using for ages that were covered up by plastic sheets, and lots of dust. You could see the footprints your mum left behind in the grime as she wandered in the halls with wide, amazed eyes. After checking the state of the whole house, Mum made the decision to leave the furniture in its protection until after the sweeping was finished. That's smart. There were too many dust bunnies that might jump over to take a seat on your couches if a spot was available. I hope I can remember where I put that dustpan. The broom itself shouldn't be too hard to find. You returned to the living room after Mum got her trusty pair of crafting scissors out of her suitcase. She put her scarf inside it when taking the scissors out. Mum then went through some of the taped up boxes like it was her birthday, and each one was a shiny unopened present with a ribbon on top, but her gift was just stuff she already owned. One by one she took out the supplies that had been brought for this very moment, setting them around her legs on the floor wherever there was space. Then she divided them out into separate piles. A pair of yellow gloves, a fluffy fresh duster, a bottle of cleaning spray, and a full roll of paper towels. Mum had a set of her own, and the other was for you. You were going to need them. There was only one broom and dustpan that she did successfully find. You were going to take turns using that. The first move in the make the house a place people can actually live in plan was yanking open the streaky windows to get some air flowing in. Though before even that, you had to get the locks on the windows themselves to come loose. You dug your fingers in between the base of the window frame and the latch pressed against it, forcing it to move against its will. When the lock clicked into place on the opposite side, you shoved the window up with both hands. Your gloves were already patchy with filth. The icy crisp breeze that flowed in from the outside was a lot more welcome at this point. You got a good look at the neighborhood while catching your breath. Streetlights had come on. But you then left the window there to do its job and got back to yours. The two of you went back and forth, up and down, around the house to open up everything that you could. Some windows were jammed in place so tight you had to leave it alone for your mum to get later. The next point on the list was to somehow scrub down all the floors, walls, counters, and every other inch of space where dust could settle, which was every inch of the entire house. You picked a spot, gave it a sweep with the fuzzy head of the duster. A nice line of clear wood followed behind your motion. The pattern continued for a while, and whenever the dust layer was gone from a spot, you'd go back over it again with the cleaning spray to really make it shine. Your mum was able to track down and turn on the heater, not that you could tell the difference with all the windows wide open. Eventually you had a short dinner break, with your mum standing around in the kitchen together with the two of you, as dusty as the rest of the house. It was packed meals from the car. Simple sandwiches, fruits with thick peels that wouldn't get smashed on the drive, little bags of granola and pretzels and juice boxes. There were no groceries. The rickety fridge was off and totally empty when you checked. It was a relief there was nothing gross in there. It was a disappointment there was nothing gross in there. It's a relief. Food mold is not pleasant. You had prepared for the worst for such an old, practically abandoned house, but there wasn't a single bottle of nasty ketchup or a box of unknown leftovers or anything. The trash from your food was dumped into the same giant black garbage bag that you'd been throwing piles of grey-stained paper towels and wads of squished-together tape in for the whole night. Somehow the bag was getting full, even though it was big enough to fit your entire body inside. It was a mark of how much work you'd really done. Looking at just the house made you think you hadn't even gotten started. The only way to change that was to keep going, as your mum talked about when encouraging herself to clean again after dinner. You and your mum polished the house as best you could for even more hours, but when your usual bedtime arrived, Mum put the dust and the scissors down. She wasn't going to have you stay up late, no matter how excited she was to unpack. She guided you to the first floor bathroom. The ones on the second floor were too dirty to use, plucking her overnight bag off the counter along the way. Your mum explained how she'd do a round throughout the whole house to close the windows, to keep busy until the bathroom was free and left you to get ready for sleep. Inside the bag was a little baby-sized versions of normal toothpaste and mouthwash containers and simple toothbrushes. All you had for pajamas that night was a green long-sleeve shirt and matching pants. You got as clean as you possibly could, with only a sink to use. You did a good job washing up. You were pretty lazy about it. You finished washing as fast as possible. You pretended to be busy for a little while. Let's get as clean as possible. Trying to get the grimy feeling off your skin wasn't easy and took way longer than usual, but it was crucial. You kept your headband on for bed. Gonna keep it on. Then changed into the PJs and let your mum have her turn. While she was away, you took out your favorite stuffed animal, you took out your favorite action figure, you took out your favorite doll, took out your special blanket, special pillow. Let's get the favorite stuffed animal. It wasn't something you could sleep without. The furniture was still plastic wrapped, so you crouched down and sat on the rug. Mum returned in only a couple minutes wearing her purple pajamas, and she also had sleeping bags tucked under each of her arms. She shifted one forward to hold against the front of her chest and dropped the other onto the floor. It landed with a puff. "That'll be mine," your mum noted while trying to untie the bag that kept the sleeping bag together in a roll. She pulled it and pinched at the knot. When it didn't budge, she lifted the bundle to her face and used her teeth to pry the threaded bands apart from each other. She got it loose and victoriously flapped the bag all the way open. She laid it down in a clear spot on the wooden floor. "There you are, Sonny, all ready." "Okay." You used your feet and rocked back and forth to move yourself across the antique rug, scooting towards the sleeping bag without getting off the ground. Mum chatted casually while spreading out her own bag nearby. "We'll need to get some wood so we can actually use that fireplace on nights like these." Did your mum know how to use a fireplace? You'd never seen one in person until now, and so far you'd still never seen one that had fire in it. Luckily the house was warm and cozy, even without that, since the window stopped letting the chill in. The heater worked, and that was sort of a surprise to you. Mum soon settled down on the center of her temporary bed. She sat cross-legged with her back solidly straight. Her hands came to the rest on the tops of her knees, and she made direct eye contact with you. "Thank you for the help with the house today. It'll be home before we know it at this rate. I worked really hard. I'm so tired now. You're welcome. A house and a home are the same thing." The way she said it made you roll your eyes. You stretched your arm out, happy with the job well done. You flopped down at the bag with a tired huff. "I'm so tired now. I can understand that." She slouched her shoulders, easing away some of the stiffness. "Hey, guess what I did in the neighborhood today? Mom, could I tell you about what happened today?" She asked how your day was. "Guess what I did?" "You hid behind the fence the entire time." "No, Mom." "Okay, tell me, dear." After pausing just a little to build suspense, you began to narrate the entire story of the paper airplane adventure. The moment it hit, to the way it led you down the forest crossroad, meeting Chiyu on his tower with his notebook full of loose pages then finding Tamrak in her leaf pile and all her surprises. Mum listened with her whole self, leaning forward and grinning wider with each new turn you revealed. You wrapped it up by explaining how you'd returned to the neighbourhood with Chiyu and Tamrak after everything you'd discovered. Aww, what a way to spend an afternoon. I'm proud of you, Sunny. You're a bona fide detective. I had no idea you'd gotten into such a winding journey. You kicked your legs up and down on your sleeping bag, very pleased with her reaction. It was a fun story to tell. Somehow the events of the day felt like they were a long time ago, or that they happened to someone else and you just heard about it. But it had been real. The paper airplane hit you in the shoulder, you held the note in your hands, and you threw the paper away when you were cleaning. No! You didn't have any idea what happened to that paper. You were saving that paper to give it back to Chiyu, and you're saving the paper to give it back to Tamrak, and you're saving the paper with your things as a keepsake. It had nice memories that went with it. With your topic all done, Mum spoke softly to share her own thoughts with you. It's odd imagining this entire building collecting dust for all this time, isn't it? No one wanted to live here. Not renters, not the man who owned it, but it's a charming house. Yeah, it is. How did we get to have something like this? Mum pinched her lips together in consideration, then she kept talking. There aren't a lot of opportunities out in these woods, I suppose. At my company, the retiring of the former HR manager was the first big positions I've ever heard of for this area, and even that didn't open up for people already living in the town. I was asked to relocate to take the position. Creases grew around her eyes the more she thought about it. She caught herself before a frown could follow. Oh, but it's not an issue. I'm grateful. We'll find our own place in the slow pace of Golden Grove, and at least we'll have each other regardless. Yep, you and me are a team. It's great we have each other to talk about with the stuff with. We'll always be together. You can count on me. Not strongly, you're not paying too much attention. You and me are a team. A very impressive one, I'd say. And your mum stretched her legs out fully across her sleeping bag, wiggling her toes inside the black socks she had on. Seeing Mum right there on the floor with you was cool. You didn't hang out together during bedtime like this most nights. It was special. As you thought about that, your eyelids were trying to tape themselves up with sticky, gritty stuff your eyes made when it was extra late. All right, dear, you should get inside the sleeping bag now, before you blink out on top of it. That sounded like a pretty good idea. Scooping your stuffed animal into both arms, you shimmied into the open end of the bag. It was made out of fabric that was so smooth it wasn't difficult to do so. You moved further down until the edge was to your chin. You were wrapped up like a loaf of bread in a grocery bag. Mum got to her feet, taking a short jog over to the far wall of the room. She lifted a finger to the light switch but kept her gaze down on you. The expression on her face was gentle. Good night, Sunny. Good night, Mum. Sweet dreams. Night. You smiled up at her. You blew her a good night kiss. You stared at her. You rolled on your side, turning away from her. Good night, Mum. The room went pitch black with a click. While your eyes were trying to adjust, you heard the shuffling sounds of Mum. She joined you on the floor again. The noises soon stopped. Mum didn't talk anymore. There weren't sounds of cars passing outside. There was a thumping in your ears, and you thought you might have heard a creak somewhere. The night noises were a lot different than you had experience with. They were so quiet and distant. It made you notice them more than if they were clearer. You'd have to get to know the sounds better. It was another part of the house's personality. You were okay with that. It was normal to need time to get familiar with each other. You pressed your eyes shut. In your head was thoughts of moving to a new town, Mum, Chiyu, Tamrak, Chiyu and Tamrak the first day of school. Chiyu and Tamrak. You tossed and turned in the squishy cocoon, wanting to sleep so tomorrow would come sooner, but too excited to do so. It was way too long of a night. Then, your second day in Golden Grove arrived. Character outfits and dress up. During the game, occasionally you will get the opportunity to change what you're wearing. You might be able to take off accessories or outlays during the moments. If you don't want to bother with changing your outfit, you can toggle these sections from your details screen. Click info, close. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it here. There's probably not too much of this demo left, but my voice is dying and I thought the demo was going to end after we got back to the house. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and bye!